In my video today, I want to make a few comments about those of you that might be farther down the road to considering Armenia as a place to retire to, with respect to buying property that might not be readily evident from your searches. My name is William Hutchison. Along with my wife, I own Armenia, Colombia for Realty for Expats and Salento, Colombia Realty. There's some important things that you need to understand if you're buying here. Things that, when you know, will protect your financial investment as best you can. It's a daunting prospect, I think, for most people to be thinking about moving their money, their equity from United States, Canada, Europe, and bringing it to a country like Colombia. But if you're careful up front when you buy, I don't think that that's a consideration that should stop you from retiring here. The first thing I want to talk about is the location. And I think from the very first day you are looking at property, you have to bear in mind what you have when the day comes that you want to sell. And that's a very important concept. As an expat, you have to understand that property that you would be selling would be sold again, likely to another expat. So you have to take that into consideration. The fact here that many people work for minimum wage or a little more does not move them into the area where they would become buyers for your property. So the more you limit what you want, the less chance you have of it appealing to other expats. For example, if you want the rural lifestyle, you want to be somewhere where you think it's tranquil, it's back to nature type of living. That sort of environment is not going to appeal to very many expats. You have to look at what expats coming to Colombia want. And many don't want to be that rural. They want to be in gated communities. They want to be close to doctors. They want to be close to the airports. You can find inexpensive property far from any kind of convenience. You might be 3 or 4 hours from the airport, 3 or 4 hours from good medical care, 3 or 4 hours from having a choice of dentists and those sorts of things. So you have to limit yourself in some ways to property that will appeal to other expats. I see property listed for $35,000, $40,000, $45,000 here, the equivalent of that. And yes, there are 4 or 5 times that where you are from. But when you look at a property where you live, that's say perhaps worth $200,000, but in Colombia it's worth $40,000. It's a dump in both places. And if you want to get into buying dumps and trying to renovate them, yes, you can do that. You can put more money into it, but all you're going to end up with is the highest price dump in an area. You can look at places where there is no manned security at the gate. I know of places where there's a gated community, but the gate's open. So there's no safety in that sort of thing. I think you have to buy in your budget. You buy in the best barrio that you can. You buy something that will appeal to other people when it comes time to sell, and that's that's the area that you should be looking in. I think most retired people, for example, will not want two stories. They don't want the stairs. Maybe they have problems with their knees. Maybe they don't have problems with their knees now, but they might in the future. So little things like that you need to consider. The other thing here that many people don't understand is sellers try to create their own market. And they don't seem to understand that people do not only look at one property, they look at 4 or 5 similar. Maybe they look at townhouses and condominiums together because they're not sure where they want to live, what type of a home they want here. But many of the properties here are overpriced. The seller goes in, he goes in at maybe 15 or 20% more than the similar properties are valued at, and hopes a dumb gringo comes along and pays that price. Many don't realize that the dumb gringo doesn't just look at that one property. I personally have turned down 3 in the last couple of months, 3 listings, because they're 25 or 30% more than what the market says they're worth. I had one, the value was around 300,000 US. They wanted 390. I can't close $90,000 US on a property valued at 300. If it was $1 million and $1.1 million, yes, there's a chance, but there's no chance when it's 30% overpriced. One of the issues too is with no MLS here, the agents just ask the seller what they want, and that's the listing price regardless of what the market value is. And they'll go back to the seller after a period of time and say the market has gone up 10%. You have to raise your property 10% because that's the value now. But they don't realize that when it started 20% too much, it's still 20% too much the day that they raise the price. I've seen situations here where property's been listed for 3 or even 4 years. It hasn't sold, so they raise the price. My suggestion is that they should be reducing it. So I think when you're looking, you need to consider the day that you're going to sell, what you're going to have on your hands. You need to consider the convenience of the location. After all, the big real estate slogan for many, many years has been location, location, location. You don't have location if you're living 3 and 4 hours from the airport and the same distance from decent medical care. Armenia has everything that an expat could want in various prices. The prices range from decent, from 100,000 and up. Many of you have that type of equity. Obviously, at the lower end, you're into condos. For right now, I have listings 325 to 350 in the best barrio with pools, beautiful climate, 6-7 minutes from the airport, 15 minutes from medical care. The location is fantastic. If I can help you out, please give me a call. Please subscribe. You can click the round photo of me up in the top corner. It helps get the information out to other people. Have a great day. I will. Why? Because I live in paradise, and you can too.